Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. It's Justin Diego back with another binge-worthy video, and today I want to talk about the new season of Basketball Wives, some housewives drama, and a whole lot more. Now, before we get started sipping this tea, go ahead and like this video, click that subscribe button, and you already know you want to hit that bell button so you officially join me and my binge watchers and are first to get updates about binge-worthy videos like this. I'm trying to tell you. You know, the new season of Basketball Wives. Y'all know that I posted a video a couple of days ago and I was excited, about the new season. And you guys, y'all tuned in and a lot of new people came and a lot of my old loyal binge watchers. You guys are happy to watch this season too. So I am so happy. Cannot wait for Tuesday night on VH1. We switching networks just for, a week. We're going to give Bravo a rest and we're going to tune into VH1 and talk about, Basketball Wives. I know a lot of you guys were saying that you're excited to see OG and not Ralph talking about the ghetto. Yeah, the ghetto. But I'm sure I'm going to make up for it. Thank you guys so much for sticking through it. This is, a new experience for me and I'm figuring it out. Won't happen again. But yes, we're also going to be talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta tonight. So y'all don't have to have y'all panties in a bunch. We're definitely going to be talking about our Atlanta girls, and some petty, tea or drama that's brewing right now. And I also want to talk about my good sis, Monique from Real Housewives of Potomac. I haven't talked about her since she announced her departure. So we're definitely going to get into that as well. Are you guys happy to be here tonight? Y'all want me to go since I'm a little late? I think I'm going to stay. And in a while, I'm going to be definitely opening up the lines, so that you guys can call in. But first up for this first segment, I'm going to go ahead and share a quick snippet of the updated Basketball Wives trailer, and I am going to be right back. But let me go ahead and paste the link for you guys to go ahead and call in if you're interested in speaking with me about any of our topics tonight. Be sure to click that link and I will definitely be excited to talk to you guys. All right, so let's get into some things.
Please, Lord Jesus, we don't want to have any kind of issues.
Tuesday, February 9th.
I will hope as Black women, we can come together and have a good time.
Basketball Wives is back.
Wait, what? Right? So much time has gone by. Why don't we get a mansion?
So you gonna invite all the ladies, huh?
I'm not taking no shit.
It's us against the world.
Oh, God.
With the pandemic, I really want us all to band together. Let's just put that behind us and stop the nonsense.
You have a real sisterhood.
Let's just put all of the bullshit behind us.
Can we move forward?
Basketball Wives new season premieres Tuesday, February 9th at 8.
First of all, I am so confused because after all of the drama and controversy that came after Basketball Wives season 8, most of us thought that this show was corrupt.
Wait, my heart. I think my heart is involved.
your heart's
Are you sure? Wait, no. I'm serious.
Oh, so y'all really gonna act like y'all forgot? Things got pretty bad last season when Shaunie O'Neal faced accusations of colorism. There were several physical altercations and relationships were broken over petty rumors. And apparently, I was not the only one blindsided here, with several fans surprised after also thinking that Basketball Wives was done. Yes, they've been off air for more than a year, and we can blame it on the coronavirus or whatever if we want to, but I can't help but feel like a part of it had to do with VH1 waiting for the smoke to clear, or maybe Basketball Wives was really possibly on the chopping block. But anyways, the cast started filming season 9 late last year after a hiatus in production caused by the pandemic. To keep everyone safe, they were all quarantined together in a bubble situation. the popular girls in one home and the fan favorites in another. Now, the outcome of these girls getting back together and making them film in close quarters like this, we will finally get to see that play out on February 9th when the new season premieres on VH1. And I am here for it. Now, I know at the beginning of the video, I was saying that it was giving me College Hill meets Real Housewives of Atlanta, but now that I think about it, it's basically the Bad Girls Club meets Golden Girls.
What the is going on in here on this day?
Yes, I am so excited about Basketball Wives. And again, guys, if you want to join me today, this is a conversation. This is my regular videos where I do all the talking. I want to give you guys an opportunity to come and chat with me. And let's talk about, our shared experience watching some of our favorite shows. And yes, Anita, I am so thankful for your super chat. Shout out to you. She's one of my loyal binge watchers. And I always appreciate the love. Running this channel definitely takes a lot of time and a lot of resources. And some of you guys who follow me on social media, y'all know that I have some things brewing in the background, and it's going to take a couple of checks. So this super chat will definitely help with my new shows that I'm working on that will be coming later in 2020. Since Housewives, may not be giving us everything we need, we got to come out with a show of our own. Are y'all excited about me coming out with my own reality show finally after all these years? Purple hearts in the comments. But yeah, back to Basketball Wives. I am excited about this show because, like I said in my video, I didn't think that they were going to make it after their scandal. And yes, we already talked about it, a couple of weeks ago when they launched their little teasers. But I was confused because we haven't really got a full-blown super trailer like we normally do. So I'm wondering, is this season going to be binge-worthy, or is it going to be a little bit of a flop? Because y'all know I raised some concerns about this idea of having everyone enter into the house and, film together, because we are not used to seeing that. I mean, I guess we used to see it back in the day with Real World and different shows like that. And a lot of you guys have wanted Bravo to do something similar, but I guess technically the quarantine was the perfect time to do that. Thank you so much, Princess AG, for coming a VIP binge watcher tonight. If you guys aren't familiar, YouTube has memberships for us. It's also another way that you guys can support the channel. And I will, every now and then release some special content just for my members. And I'm excited for everybody who wants to be a part of that. Nobody has called in yet. And I don't want to sit here talking to myself. I may have to just log off. This will be the shortest live ever if I can't have a conversation with you guys. So definitely click the link that I'm pasting and pinning in the chat. And I want to talk to some of you guys. But I'll move on to a little bit of, Real Housewives of Atlanta tea, since, I can tell y'all want to get a little bit, into it first before y'all call in. So I will go right on into this Real Housewives of Atlanta tea. So y'all know that the Super Bowl is coming on tomorrow. And, I wasn't expecting no new episodes. And quite frankly, I was happy there was no new episodes, because I didn't want to have to be pressured to give commentary this week. But, Super Bowl is coming, but Bravo has decided apparently to give us a little bit of something special. Shout out to you, Keishley, for becoming a binge watcher, for becoming a member tonight. She is in the binge watchers tier. Shout out to you. But yeah, so Michelle mentioned on her channel a couple of days ago that Bravo would be doing some sort of special. And, I wasn't sure because Bravo, I didn't expect them to really compete with Super Bowl, but they have chose two heavy hitters, Sheree and Dwight Eubanks, to do some sort of special. Now, I don't really know the details, But apparently, they're going to be like watching an episode or like something on Bravo pertaining to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Are y'all interested in that? Let me know in the comments below because it's a little bit weird to me. But, I know somebody who wasn't really interested in it. Nene Leakes wasted no time sliding in his comments, after Dwight posted this little teaser Sunday night at 9 p.m. on Bravo with the laughing emojis. He's sipping his little wine, preparing, I guess, for whatever the special is. And then Nene took it a step further and she just got straight up petty. Oh, shoot. She got straight up petty and, was trolling him in his comments about this. And I was just so shook. So apparently, let me see if I can pull up my little graphic. Oh, hold on. We have some callers in the queue. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, hey, I'm fine. And you?
I'm well. Thanks for calling in tonight.
Is it too late to talk about basketball wives?
No. I just wanted to, talk about Housewives while I waited for y'all to call in. What are you excited about for this season, or are you not happy to look at Basketball Wives?
At first I was like, I hate that they're gonna be in that house, but I was like, that means they can fight without worrying about spreading the Rona. So let's hope. Let's hope somebody throw hands. I want to see. I don't want it. I don't want it to be stereotypical. I want them to have an actual reason to fight, and then they're gonna be like, you know what?
You
I
want
threw
them
hands
to
with.
actually throw some blows?
Well, I think Evelyn has it coming from a few people.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. She was too confident with OG, the stuff she was saying, but I think OG, she's still gonna be like, I don't got time for that. But no, I was so sad that Cece didn't decide to come back because Cece, like, I didn't
The queen, right?
dislike her, but she wasn't really doing much her first season. She was just kind of like Beverly Hills housewife. I was like, why isn't she on the Housewives of Beverly Hills? But
She was
then
giving
while
that Deshaun Snow energy.
Exactly. And then after last season, I was like, they need to cast her on Married to Medicine Los Angeles because she's a doctor in Los Angeles. Like,
Hmm.
that was, she's more Married to Medicine, in my opinion, because I fly above all the drama. That was Cece. She was like, I don't got time for all of that. But
Well, you
no, and
say
then
that, but you remember she was the one who got OG riled up and got girl, I forgot her name, but like telling that big family secret. So she
I
definitely
know.
planted some seeds. I just wish she was bold enough to really like spill that tea herself and get the credit.
Yeah, but no, when Cece stepped up to Evelyn, I was like, my heart, like, I just stopped for a second. I was like, what's finna happen? What's finna happen? Because she was confident. Evelyn said, you called me the B word. And Cece said, because you are. I said, it's true, but dang. But no, I hope, I didn't think OG was gonna come back because I love my girl, but they knew she's the one that got the season green lit. So Shawnee was like, "Let me go ahead and make sure she come back." I
Yeah, I
think what they
think
should do, since there was an issue about colorism, I think they should incorporate some more of the past faces who are dark skinned, like who's dark skinned? Kimsha from the first season of LA, Brooke from the second season. Uh I think Sunday's more light skinned than dark skinned. Um,
yeah, I think
Kenya from Miami, definitely Kenya from Miami. Because do you remember the last episode of Miami season 5 when Susie tried to throw them meatballs at her and think she was getting smart, but Kenya threw her into that. What was it? It was like a lamp in the hotel room, and she Susie lip open. I said, Kenya, oh my gosh,
yeah.
she deserved it. She
Yeah,
deserved it.
I think that it would be interesting, but I think that they did it right by like finishing that story. So maybe in the future they can do that. But it was good for them to start by bringing OG back because like what they did for her to her at the reunion was kind of messed up. And my thing is, and I said this before, I always feel like we have to give people the opportunity to make things right. And I feel
Hmm.
like this season is for all the people who are like, we're never watching again because of the colorism or for the way that they just did our good sis wrong. What they do this season, and we're going to be able to tell if it's authentic or not. What they do
Hmm.
this season will really set the tone for the future of that show. So I'm hoping that they will do the right thing, and I'm glad that it looks like we'll still get, a lot more shade.
What definitely surprised me was somebody was in her comments and they were like, "Oh, gee, why did you decide to come back after they
Mhm.
treated you like that?" And she was like, "Oh, I have to. It's my contract." I
Ooh,
was like, "See, they trapped her in there now. They were like, we're gonna treat you wrong and keep you coming." Because that's the whole thing with Tammy. When Tammy wanted to quit after season 7, she was like, "I got to come back because of my contract, because I got to pay a fee to get out this contract." So, you
okay.
know,
Well, that's some tea that I'm gonna have to dig into, and we definitely will be paying attention. Thanks so much, Nick, for calling in tonight. I want to get to
look,
some
I'm
more.
laughing because Dre tried to get you Michelle live the other night. He was like, "You said thank you for calling."
We do not give Dre full free promotion over here. Uh, most of these people don't know who Dre is, so we're not gonna do that. But
We
thanks
just
again.
got here.
Right. Thanks again for calling, Nick. I'll
Thank
see you
you.
in the comments.
See ya.
All right. Thank you guys for sticking with us. Definitely give me some more likes. There's 356 people in here, and I only got a measly 169 likes. What? Y'all keep trying it. I can just click out. And shout out to the people who are becoming members tonight. Really appreciate it. Of course, it's not only about, any of the money. I appreciate it, but I'm happy for everybody who's just watching my channel. But I appreciate all of the memberships, all of the super chats, and everybody who cash apps your boy. It definitely all goes back to us and helps our channel to be binge worthy. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some more calls. Let's see. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you so much. Glad to have you back.
Glad to be back.
Good. Well, I'm not really looking forward to seeing Basketball Wives because you see now, even on the promos, the picture they have on the screens now, they already don't even have OG on the screen. So therefore, I haven't really been a fan since Tammy left. And
Mhm.
one hard thing about OG is, you know how she was the underdog and you always feel for the underdog, but then she was kind of hard to like also. So I was torn.
Mhm. Yeah. It was hard to get into her at first, but eventually I started to be like, oh, okay, I do like this girl.
Yeah, I hate the way they turned on her though.
Hmm.
And
What makes you you say you do or you don't like? Oh, you haven't liked it since Tammy went away.
I really haven't enjoyed it since Tammy left. And then also now that Tammy's gone, I thought, well, let me give it another try because Tammy didn't carry the show. So I
Hmm.
tried to give it another try. And then they came in and gave OG such a hard time. And me being a girl, dark skinned girl myself, I thought that's something that we as dark skinned women have dealt with for a long time. Colorism.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
just couldn't stand that. And then
Yeah.
like you all were saying earlier, how they treated her at the reunion. That was just I couldn't stand that.
Yeah, I'm just so confused that they let it happen because it's like my thing is it takes multiple people to
Yes.
pull something like that off. That's not just a Shawnee thing. It's not just like a cast thing. It's cast, production, executives to make decisions like that. And I was just surprised that they almost insulted us as if we were supposed to just let it fly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of confusing.
You would have thought it would have been one person in the room that said, you know what, that's not cool.
Right. Yeah. One second. Let me shout out our people who are supporting the channel. Shout out to you, Afia Maxwell, for your $10 super chat. She says, I enjoy your commentary and your beautiful spirit. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And
Definitely.
also, Mr. Shelton super chatted, Mrs. Shelton super chatted in and gave $5. So we appreciate that. She said, I'm glad you're back, Justin. I missed you. Hashtag Team Twirl. Team Twirl, you guys know that y'all are safe here on this channel. But we are Team Everybody, but especially Team Twirl. And shout out to you, Michelle. Thank you so much for helping me in the comments tonight. And thank you for that $24.99 super chat. She said, I might watch Basketball Wives because of you. Otherwise, I'm just here for support. Yeah, you guys, of course, don't have to watch the shows that I watch, but I definitely feel like, if I'm going to watch shows, I want to create content that helps everybody who watches them to also, have something to look forward to. So definitely happy to hear that. And shout out to Hilda and Yolanda. And Yolanda's all the way from Holland. Shout out to you. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. So yes, back to you, Miss LaShawn. Is that your name, LaShawn?
LaShawn. Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you have anything else that you want to add? Do you want to speak on anything else before I let you go?
Well, no, thanks for taking my call. And like I said, welcome back. We missed you.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'm glad to be back. I'll see you in the chat.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so I want to get back to the Housewives of Atlanta story before we move on to our next caller. And again, guys, if you want to join and talk to me tonight, definitely click that link that's pinned to the top of your comment section, and you'll just be able to use your phone, your computer, or whatever you want to be able to join the conversation. So I was telling you guys that Dwight posted that he's going to be participating in some sort of Bravo special about Real Housewives of Atlanta, and Nene Leakes slid in his comment section talking about they use you when they need you, child. And Michelle definitely caught the tea and was petty right along with her. How do you guys feel about this special? I think that it's kind of weird. Last week, I feel like they forced our girls to hop on Twitter, and live tweet again for the first time in several seasons. I haven't seen them do that in a really long time. But for some reason they had a mandatory live tweeting requirements last week. And, now we have them digging up Sheree and Dwight all the way from Chateau Sheree to come and do commentary about Real Housewives of Atlanta, a show that they fired Sheree from. That's kind of weird to me. But, I agree with Nene. They definitely will use you when they need you because we definitely need something. I'm just not sure if it's Dwight and Sheree that we need. Let me get into the comments and see where you guys are seeing. Let me know. Do you guys feel like we need it? Somebody said it was Candy's idea. I doubt that. Shout out to you for that super chat, Zaleen Turner. Thank you for watching my videos. I'm so glad that you enjoy them. And also Pamela, shout out to you all the way from Cleveland, Mississippi. Yes. Do you guys feel like it's exciting that they dug up Sheree and Dwight? Somebody said that it's the wrong combination. Someone also said they're struggling. And somebody talking about Lisa Wu on next weekend. Now Lisa Wu, I kind of can, get a little bit more excited about that. But I don't know about Sheree and Dwight. Someone said they haven't hit 2 million views this whole season. They know they're struggling. Yeah, I mean, it don't take rocket science to tell that something's going on. But, Hilda says she's going to be watching the special. Are you guys going to be watching the special? I may have to sneak in and sneak out. Depends on what happens. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take my next call. Are you ready to come on? Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Justin. I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for calling tonight. What do you want to talk about?
I just want to talk about Basketball Wives, pretty much. Okay. I just want to know if Shawnee's going to remain neutral between the two different groups, because sometimes I feel like Shawnee picks sides with like Evelyn and Phoebe. Mm-hmm. So I was just curious if she's going to remain neutral on the show, or is she going to because she's kind of like the manager on the show. So to me, it's like, I don't think her facial expressions sometimes, she kind of like decides like how the show, like what side she's going to be on. And to me, I just feel like that's not appropriate for someone that's managing all the girls. And I just feel like, is she going to remain neutral? Is my main question.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we will look out for. And thank you for bringing that up because this is a new show for me to review. I normally have been watching it as a fan. So like I'm learning like the things to kind of look for and talk about. But that is a big deal because it's always kind of been weird for me because I remember when Tammy and Jackie Christie was going, at it. You remember that? I was just like, dang, Shawnee stands Tammy, but she has to love Jackie because when the Miami franchise flopped, they came running over here to LA where Jackie Christie had been holding it down. So you can't just throw all the girls away from the show that actually worked. So that's interesting. I remember with the whole OG situation, Shawnee definitely made it clear that she was definitely not feeling OG. Right. So I'm interested, and if you guys watch the trailer, Shawnee said, like, I can't do this like this. I wonder if they asked her that question. I wonder if they were like, hey, look, girl, like, you got to pick a side because, you got to be neutral and stop picking a side because Queen OG cannot be treated wrong anymore on this network.
Exactly. I agree with you.
Is there anything else that you would like to share or have people who are watching Basketball Wives for like the first time because of our conversation? Is there anything that they should look forward to or pay attention to and stay woke about?
Well, I do think that they should address OG in the last season, that whole situation. I do think that they need to recap on that because from the premiere, like the trailer, it seemed as though everybody's just getting along and kikiing, and I just feel like how did they get to that point? What did we miss? So and how is the show going to be without Tammy Roman? Because Tammy Roman, I'm telling you, she held it down. She really did.
Right. Well, thanks so much for calling. Hopefully you will be watching my Bingeworthy videos when I talk about Basketball Wives here on the channel.
I will, most definitely. You got me as a subscriber.
All right. Thank you for calling.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Yes. I want you guys to continue to call in. We have a couple more callers, in the queue, but I definitely want to get everybody in. So definitely click that link and we're going to get into some things. But yeah, like with Basketball Wives, it's such a different dynamic than Real Housewives of Atlanta because with Real Housewives of Atlanta, everybody on the show is just like talent. Like nobody's really like in a producer role. Nobody's getting like executive producer credit from my understanding. But speaking of executive producer credit and speaking of behind the scenes, there's one more thing that I wanted to share with you guys about Real Housewives of Atlanta. Because right now we focus a lot on how bad the show is doing. But if you guys remember, there was a time when the show was doing really, really well. And that's probably the reason why you guys are here tonight, because of Real Housewives of Atlanta. That's the content that I've been talking about the longest. And that's the content that I'm probably the most passionate about. So this week, the Jasmine Brand, if you guys follow her on Instagram, it's at the Jasmine Brand. They are a Black-owned blog, and they speak about different shows, different things going on in the Black entertainment industry. And she actually did an interview with the woman who helped make Real Housewives of Atlanta happen. Her name is Princess. I follow her. I brought her book, and I have known about her. But did you guys know that Real Housewives of Atlanta is the brainchild of a Black woman? Let me know in the comments if you guys knew that, because, a lot of you guys don't really know that. Somebody said, what's the number? It's not actually a phone number. You're just going to click this link and you will be directed to a website that you would be able to call in and have a discussion. You're welcome to get on camera or not. I'm not on camera tonight because I was focused more on getting my stories together rather than serving looks tonight. So I ran out of time. But yeah, shout out to everybody from Instagram, OG Vibe, all the way from St. Lucia, showing Bingeworthy some love. Shout out to everyone in the comments. So before I move forward, I want to go ahead and share a tiny bit of this clip that, you know, the Jasmine Brand put out. And they talked about what it took for Real Housewives of Atlanta to happen. And I just want to escape a little bit from, you know, throwing shade at our girls, you know, and focusing on how bad the show is doing, and focus a little bit on what made it happen in the very beginning.
So let's talk about how I know that you had this meeting, you pitched your show, and then how did Real Housewives of Atlanta sort of develop?
Yeah. Okay, so in that meeting, we talked about it was called Dime Piece, and he loved it. This executive loved it. My friend Rob Funderburg, he used to manage all kinds of different artists. He brought me to LA. I met with the true executive, and we sat there. And at the time, what I knew was he liked what I was, you know, talking about. He liked the show that I was giving him. But I also felt like, you know what, I'm here and they're talking about lots of TV stuff, like all these other shows. They were talking about different shows. They were talking about, you know, I ended up finding out in that meeting who he really was. And I remember the moment where I heard him say, my friend Robert say, you know, he did Orange County. He did the Real Housewives of Orange County. And I remember him saying that in the past, but I didn't know what the show was. I had never watched the show. Reality TV was not big in Toronto, in Canada, period. It's only actually been 5 years since we've really started getting the shows that the US gets because of our broadcast system, censors, and so on. But I remember saying, he did what? And they were talking about this place called Ladera Heights in LA, which predominantly Black women. And I just sat there and remember thinking, And I said, oh, no, that's Atlanta. That's Atlanta. And, you know, back then, boy, when I tell you what I said, if I said something and it left my mouth, it had to happen, period. Like, that was my mindset. And, you know, it's funny because I'm always like, where is that girl, Jesus? But we always, you know, lose a little of her and find her later.
Right.
But I said, you know, that's Atlanta. And they both looked at me like, and I said, no, these are women that are wearing fur, like I said, living the life, driving nice, eating nice. But these are Black women and they're in Atlanta. And they still kind of, you know, looked at me. And I remember him looking kind of like, okay, you know, because listen, I'm not the first person who's ever thought of doing a predominantly Black cast. But guess what? I'm the first person to execute. And I'm the first person to get it to the finish line. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. It is forever your legacy if you execute. But if you think about it and think about the why not and the who did and the who else didn't.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised that so many of you guys didn't know. Someone said, Opal said, for real, I thought the franchise was Andy's. That's the way Bravo made it seem. Yeah, and I'm not saying that she owned the show. Of course, Real Housewives of Orange County was already out. But, you know, Bravo may or may not have known at the time that they wanted to make it a franchise. Like, every show that comes out isn't automatically a franchise. So what she did is she, at some point, convinced them to not only, you know, do a Black show about Black women, but she wanted them to, you know, continue this franchise of Real Housewives of, you know, Real Housewives. And I think that that's so iconic. And I'm really surprised that a lot of you guys didn't know that. I know that over the years, it's been really confusing. Yes, I agree, Sierra. Black women are greater than everything, everybody. You know, I'm not very surprised because obviously, you know, they ain't thinking about us like that. So who else did y'all think came up with the show? Especially for it to be so iconic the first season. Y'all know it had to be some soul and some Black people involved in making that happen. Now, I don't know, you know, things may have switched, you know, from then to now, but, you know, we're not going to go there. But yeah, I was happy that she, did this interview, and I don't, speak about her here on the channel. And if you guys are really interested, maybe I can try to get her to do some interview directly with us. Yes, I agree. Definitely trendsetters. Michelle said they kind of tried to erase her. There was a period of time when I first found out about her that I was just like, this girl running around town talking about she created Real Housewives of Atlanta. Girl, bye. Because Real Housewives of Orange County was out. You did not create that. And I ain't see your name on the credits. But one day I was watching the show and I made it a point to really read the credits and like to kind of see. And sure enough, I saw her name in the credit. So for sure, she's that girl. And if you guys watch the full interview, it's 4 parts. 3 parts. And I only shared like a small snippet of like part 2. But if you're interested and you want to support a Black queen, her name is Princess. And she's definitely on Instagram. Go send her some love. While I talk, or whatever, I'm going to look for her Instagram to paste it directly because, you guys should know this. And I wish that it wasn't really a secret. But yeah, let me read some more comments. Anita said they try to colonize everything. If you guys don't mind, I want some of you guys to call in and let's talk about this, especially some of my Black women, because that's the reason why I wanted to share this. Princess AG TV said, OMG. Sierra said, yes, please interview her. Yeah, I think she would definitely be open to that. I know that is not new information for her, but a lot of people just don't know. Someone said, Sinitra said, hey, Sinitra, she's one of Michelle's loyal squad members. Thank you for coming over to my channel tonight. She said, they need our creativity, then pretend we don't exist. Yeah, I think that's really unfortunate. And I think Real Housewives of Atlanta would benefit from there being some Black people involved with the core decisions that are made, because I'll talk a little bit about a problem that I had, and I spoke with some of my friends about it, off camera, of course. But I didn't like the whole private jet storyline because I'm pasting her Instagram in the comments below. Share some love. Let her know that I sent you, that I talked about her on this video so that we can butter her up so that she'll give us an exclusive interview. And again, shout out to the Jasmine Brand, another Black queen who's out here doing it. But yeah, the issue I had with Real Housewives of Atlanta recently is that whole private jet storyline. I hate that the girls, and I hate that More Than Likely production made it like this joke and made it this thing to where if we watched it, there could have been a way to where we're like, yes, our girls are taking private jets. Let me Google how I can take a private jet, because that's how we doing it out here. Not to say living below, above your means or whatever, but I like to watch shows and I like to watch content that, inspires me and gives me ideas about things that are available to me. And we can watch all these challenges where girls are shaking their booties and doing all these challenges, being suggestive, and there's nothing wrong with that. But why can't we watch stuff and see Black people doing well to spark ideas in us to where we can be great too? And I just wish that they would have let that scene be that, rather than making it about, oh, Kenya the only one who did it and blah, blah, blah. And like Portia especially being so upset about it, because if it was me and my girls, we would have been like, oh, okay, that's really cute. This bus is not it. Let me pull this van over right now and let me get Tyler Perry on the line and let me get him to fly us, come meet us and take us on his private jet. Or any person in your Rolodex, play it off. Get on Uber private jets. I'm sure they got a private jet Uber app for that. And like, on the way back, just act like this is what y'all do. Act like it's available to us, because I'm tired of people acting like great things aren't available to us. When those girls on Beverly Hills or any of those other shows get their little jets, nobody's over there like, oh, Dorit took her jet and she didn't invite us. No, girl, they're either on the jet or they're getting another jet. And I feel like that was such a missed opportunity. Hello, Sinitra. How are you?
I'm great. I just not staying long. I just wanted to pop on and show some love and speak on the interview that you were showing a snippet of.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely insightful. I think we definitely need to see more things like that. You know, more insight like that.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have more of an insight on the Black women who are creators. You know,
Right.
I think that's why there's such a squeeze on women who are creators, because Black women rather that are creators. And I think it's because it's something that's more or less hidden. You know, our creativity is used, like I said in my comment, and then they pretend we don't exist. They Columbus our creativity.
Right.
And we got to stop the Columbusing of our creativity. Like you did, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's out of control. Everything about what we do as Black women is absolutely magical.
Right.
And but when you look up, everything has been mimicked and Columbus and copied to our vernacular, our speech patterns, the way we gossip, the way we do absolutely everything. And ladies like Miss Princess, we want to hear those stories. We want to see these things. These are the kind of people we want to see. This is
Right.
what we want to get a whiff of. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that is not shown. I totally agree with what you were saying about the whole private jet issue. They definitely are doing their best to make the girls in Atlanta look like, the food stamp version of the Real Housewives.
Yeah,
And
unfortunately.
yeah, that's like Real Housewives EBT, and it's
Right.
real ugly. You know, you put, I joke and clown on Kenya, but she's still a Black woman at the end of the day. And
Mm-hmm.
so you put her on a Delta Connect, make it a joke, got her on there. I'm pretty sure the producers are the ones that put her and that other Latoya chick up to hating on Phelan or Fallon. I hope I'm not saying her name wrong. From what I could see from the clips about having a private jet, and the fact that they weren't in a hurry to put this young lady on the show when she got real money,
Right.
it to me is very telling. You don't want anybody there with real cash. You got Candy playing the bitter baby mama. You know, you got Kenya buying men, renting men, man of the day, cash out.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly cash out men. And
Right.
all that being said, it's a matter of, you can see not only, I've been saying for a while, we're definitely watching the declassing of Bravo, but what I don't want to see happen is the declassing of Black women. That's
Right.
what I'm not for any of that. I joke a lot, I clown a lot, but let's be all the way transparent.
Right. And
They're definitely trying to put a narrative out there about Black women. They don't want to show Black women living in opulence. They want to show us if we're doing something that is opulent. They want to show it as being overly flashy, cliched, ghetto, out of your means, you're in debt. Like that's the picture, that's the framework that they want to have for us. And it's not okay.
right. And my thing is, and I was saying with one of my friends, off the record, is it was funny, like when we were laughing in the beginning, like, oh, okay, Sheree, sweeping her porch, Sheree not even living in her house. It was funny when it felt like we were laughing amongst each other.
Right.
But when it turned to where, okay, who's really laughing the loudest here? And
Mhm.
what is this really about? And are we a part of this decision-making process of what gets to be funny or what gets to be filmed or shown? And the answer, from my understanding, is not so much anymore.
It's not, and I want to say this. I feel like we all do it. We all code switch. Let's be honest. We all do it to a degree,
Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
think that code switching kind of upgraded in this new era to where it's not just a speech. It's a matter of our behavior used to switch when we were around certain folks and we didn't do certain things in mixed company, if I can say it that way. And so
Mhm.
now the things that we used to do amongst ourselves, now we're doing it in front of a camera.
Right.
And like you said in the beginning, it was funny because we were seeing, what we see in our daily lives kind of play out and how we speak amongst ourselves and behave on camera. It was actually entertaining. But
Mhm.
then we did not consider that people who maybe don't love us, like, we love us. We have a love for each other that is innate, it is natural, and there's no way around it. So whereas we may criticize and we may say things, we may poke fun, we might laugh about your implants or your bad kids or that no good man. You know how we do. But we still love each other, and it's not coming from a place of malice. It's not coming from a place of mockery. You understand?
Right.
So we have to be mindful of those things, and I think we're not. And then when you speak up against it, some people think, on a very shallow level. So everything now is perceived as hate. When you're actually giving good critical insight, like everything you said tonight is pure facts. Pure facts. But someone who's thinking very shallow, who doesn't want to look at the bigger picture, who doesn't want to look at the implications of what we're doing today and how it's going to hit us tomorrow, everything now is perceived as hate. But like I said, I'm not going to stay long, Justin. I absolutely love you. I just wanted to stop in and show some love, okay?
All right, I appreciate it, and everybody else in the comments is appreciating your, kind words and your intelligence and wisdom. So thanks for calling in.
All right, thank you, dear. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello?
Hey, what's up, Justin?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well.
I just wanted to echo some of the thoughts that the last caller and what you were saying. I feel like Real Housewives started the first couple of seasons as showing that opulence, and I mean that's what the Housewives franchise was like. Women having a lot of money, and whether it was their own endeavors or rich husbands, and just opulence, and then it started to take a turn. I feel like, well, Deshaun Snow, they got rid of Deshaun. I mean, she was a little boring sometimes, but I mean, that was what she wasn't any more boring than some of the Beverly Hills people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like it took a turn, and then it started to become what they would consider average. Because even this last episode, like Candy can't afford a jet. Like, come on, like all of these girls from one season could afford a jet, to rent a jet. Right. And even when they got to the house, is like the whole Uber Eats thing, and it's just like so like regular, filmed with an iPhone content. I'm just like, it makes no sense to me what they're trying to do now. And it's even going back to like Beverly Hills, where the word on the street is that Garcelle is being kind of, pushed to the side. And I don't know. I just feel like what their idea of us in their mind is kind of coming through in their storytelling.
Right.
And it's really sad.
Yeah, and what I was saying earlier was like it was cute again when it was like us involved, and whenever we had control of the narrative. Now it's so obvious that we don't really have any real say when it comes to these things, and to me that's when it gets cringeworthy. And I know that it is a show, it's entertainment, and it's supposed to be taken lightly. And at the same time, I don't want us to get to the point where we're too hard on ourselves and our entertainers. But I know for me, like right now, I don't live in Atlanta. I moved to California, and I live in a city where there's not that many Black people. So when I'm introduced to people, of course, everybody introduced me as like, oh, he's a YouTuber. He talks about Housewives of Atlanta, and everybody swarms in and they like start saying all of these things, and they don't really give me room to be myself or be a person. And it's upsetting me and my homegirls because it's just like, wait, but this is not all Black people are. And this, like, I don't want to feel obligated to give you your Atlanta experience and be so extra or whatever. And it's like that's where I'm starting to realize they need to see more shades of us, more versions of us, so that we can just show up and just be received and respected as entertainers or as people, whatever. So
they don't give us an opportunity to kind of live in our truths. It's always like they cast type the shows, and it's like, okay, you're gonna be this person and you're gonna be that person, and that's all we get from you for the entire season. And it's just like it's so cringe now. Like we're able to argue over whose jet is bigger, or who got there first by a jet, or who didn't. Much like Sheree not putting Nini's name on the list. That was the type of opulence we liked, when it was like little petty stuff that could have carried a show. Not these deep sex things and a stripper. And it's like too much. It's
Yeah,
really
because
too much.
we think highly of our girls, and like we don't like. I don't want it to know about them doing that at a party. This whole stripper,
Right.
like it's like if that happened, like I'm not being judgmental, but that's not really the thing that I'm looking for from high class like celebrity Black women. Like it's
Right.
kind of like I would expect that on Bad Girls Club, or I would expect that storyline on some Zeus network show,
Right.
not
Right.
Housewives of Atlanta.
So you have a platform and an opportunity to bring in your new shows and change it up a little bit. I wasn't gonna leave until I said that.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely want to do things, the way that I think that they should be done, and I am definitely keeping all of that in mind while I produce my little shows for sure.
That's good. That's good. Well,
Well,
I'm not
thank
gonna
you.
keep you.
Thank you for calling.
No
Good to
problem.
finally speak with you.
Yeah. Stay in the chat.
All right.
All right.
Talk to you later. Thank you guys for sticking with us and being a part of the conversation in the comments. I'm definitely keeping an eye on comments and pinning my favorite ones while I'm having conversations. Again, the number or the link for you to call in and chat with me after I take my next caller, Monica. It's pinned to the top of the comment section, and I definitely can't wait to speak with some more of you guys. So let's get right back into it. Someone said Kenya is normally my girl, but I don't like how she's moving this season. Yeah, I'm wondering how much is Kenya and how much is production. But yeah, I'm not loving Kenya's energy or her storyline this season myself. Someone said maybe all cast members need to be on a minimum of 2 years. Let me know why you say that. Do you feel like we need an opportunity to really get to know them past season 1? I can agree with that. Someone said they can recognize an accent. Yeah, he is West Indian, I believe. Someone said it's okay to be sophisticated. No, that is not my man. This is someone who follows me on Instagram, and we followed each other for years. And we, how we have Instagram friends, y'all, friends in our head. So it's cool to finally get to like talk to people, or if I see people who I followed on Instagram for years, it's cool to see them in person. So that's what just happened. Someone said Kenya and Candy are doing what production is asking. Stir up the drama and watch everything unfold. Yeah, keep those comments going. Monica, are you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready, but I look like a mess, so that's why you just see my counter.
Okay. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Which story do you want to talk about?
I do want to talk about a combination of both Real Housewives of Atlanta and Basketball Wives.
Okay.
My thing about Basketball Wives that kind of replaying my head is when OG confronted the colorism, they kind of used Kristen as their scapegoat. Like, hey, we have a dark-skinned girl that we liked. Her name is Kristen. Look at her. But not only it really was about colorism. If you will compare OG to Kristen, it's also looking at texturism as well as featureism. Now, if you take off the wigs and the weaves that OG had, she probably had she probably had 4C or 4B hair, and then her features, it's very, quote unquote stereotypical African features. And I'm just using quotation marks. And then if you look at Kristen got looser texture hair. Her features is not the stereotypical African features. It's very, like you can tell in the bloodline that, stereotypically it was diluted so they like, hey, she's dark skinned, but we like her. So they use Kristen as their scapegoat when OG was confronting the colorism, where in a sense, if you paid attention to the to the reunion, it really was a way of them trying to shut and gaslight and silence OG.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I remember. I believe Kristen was one of the people to speak up, right? Like, wasn't she one of the one to say, like, I'm dark skinned too?
yeah, and then they kind of went along. And they kind of went along with it. And then, like, what about Malaysia? She's brown skinned. She's a little darker. She's a little darker than us. We like her. We friends with her. But then it goes to texture. It goes to featureisms as well with Malaysia after all the work that she done.
Shade.
Yeah, I can work. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And it is unfortunate. Do you feel like there's a chance that they will make things right, or do you feel like,
I feel like what they're going to do is they're going to make it right for the viewers, but it's going to annoy the viewers when there's going to be a lot of gaslighting and trying to hush OG if that topic is brought up.
And with that said, how much do we want to stay on that? Do we want that to keep going on? Do we want them to get it out the way?
I don't want that to be the main topic of that. I just want it to be like probably 1, maybe 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then dead it.
Maybe 3.
Maybe, yeah. That's all. I was really reading my mind because I really.
I could tell you wanted to say, oh, maybe 3.
Yeah. Yes. So, and so pretty much, it's kind of like. I'm sorry, I gotta turn down my fire. Okay. So it's pretty much like they gonna do it like 1, maybe 2, a possibility. Let's just throw in 3 in the pot. They're gonna throw in 3 episodes, and then like for a little bit they're gonna try to gaslight the situation, shut her up. Gonna use Kristen and Eeyore as the token dark skinned girls. Like, hey, they're dark. We like them. We just didn't like you. Okay. Right. And they're going to use that as their argument. As far as Real Housewives of Atlanta, I didn't know that a Black woman pitched that. Mm-hmm. And then plus they go so fast with the credits that you probably would never.
Yeah, you got to really pay attention to.
Yeah, you don't pay attention to that. So I didn't know that. What I wish that, I don't want to sound rude or prejudiced, but I wish they went with Atlanta like Potomac, where it was a majority Black women. Mm-hmm. Like to a certain extent, yeah, we can relate to Kim, but at the same time, we couldn't relate to Kim. You get what I'm saying? Right. And then since Atlanta is so-called Black Hollywood, the new Black Mecca for the LGBTQ plus community, it's basically Black San Francisco too. So it's like I wished that they started off those first several seasons of Kim on there as predominantly Black, mostly Black. Because Potomac, I didn't know it's kind of in the DC area, and when our parents was growing up, DC was known as Chocolate City. Where when we growing up, like us now, we know as Atlanta being Chocolate City. Mm-hmm. So I wish it was like a majority Black. I do hate how Real Housewives of Atlanta is kind of turning to Love and Hip Hop without being Love and Hip Hop. Mm-hmm. I do hate that. I hate how the direction it went, but I do kind of like the fact how they, in a sense, like if you look at beneath the surface, they're showing people that Black women are not a monolith. That we're not, they think all Black women is either mammies, sapphires. You know what I'm saying? So that we follow those tropes. And it kind of shows that, no, we're like any other women. We have different personalities. Like, everybody know a Black woman that act like Kenya. Everybody know a Black woman that act like Candy. Everybody know a Black woman that act like Portia. Everybody know a Black woman that act like Cynthia, Mm-hmm. So that's one thing I do like about Atlanta. However, I watch it. It's kind of touch and go this season for me. That I'm gonna treat this like I treat like any other reality shows. Because I used to watch beginning to end of Atlanta, as well as Potomac. I'm like, I'm just gonna wait till the reunion happens.
Right.
That's how I really feel about this season. Like this season doesn't give me an urge to watch it from beginning to end.
You mean Atlanta?
Yes, Atlanta. It's not giving me an urge to watch it from beginning to end.
Right. I just wanted to be over so that we can try again.
Yeah, like I just want to see the reunion, call it a day, and maybe they can try it again. Maybe I think they need to go back to how it was like in the first 3 or 4 seasons.
Right.
Where it was fun, we can relate, we can kiki, we can laugh, but at this moment it's like they slowly but surely trying to make us a monolith.
Right.
And
well,
I'm not feeling that.
Right. Well, thanks again, or thanks so much for calling and chatting with us. You definitely raised some really interesting points, and I'm always happy to hear from other Black women talk about, your experience as a Black woman and, watching the show. So I appreciate you bringing all of those things up about both shows.
All right. Well, thank you, and you have a nice day. Okay.
You too. I'll see you in the chat.
I'm sorry, I work at customer service. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Are you guys still enjoying the show? Give me some purple hearts. Can I get at least 50 more likes? Or do I need to just go, read the room and leave? I'm at 287. Can I at least get to 300? I'll meet y'all in the middle. Let's get to 300 likes. Let me read some more comments. Miss Nina Bug said, why don't you like Real Housewives of Atlanta? Of course I like Real Housewives of Atlanta. I just feel like, sometimes you can love a thing, but not love what's happening with that thing. And I just don't love what's happening right now. I never would have imagined that our show could be so bland and so not exciting. I remember the days where I couldn't wait to get on Black Twitter to see what all of y'all were saying about the show. And I feel like we don't get that anymore. I feel like episodes come and go, and I feel like our girls are over it. We're worn out. Everybody's just kind of worn out. And I feel like whatever we need, we're just not getting it on both ends. All right, let me take this call. Hello.
Hello. I was calling. I wanted to talk about Basketball Wives.
Okay.
I'm excited about this new season, but what I really want to happen is how everyone on the reunion, I believe, they went very hard on Jackie about her daughter situation, about her not taking care of her youngest child or the second eldest. I would like for Shani and Evelyn to be exposed in the rest of the cast to try to get the truth on the whole colorism issue. I feel like that would be something good for the show. So that's something I really wanted to see this season. So I hope they
since they
cover
held
that.
since you feel like since they held Jackie to the fire to get all of the tea about her and how she did her daughter, they shouldn't get a pass and they should be held to the fire as well.
Yeah, I feel like they should be held accountable as well. Or maybe seek a therapist, or have a session with a therapist just to get the truth on that whole situation. So I do want it to I don't want them to just end the whole colorism. I want to have an episode or two just to get the honest truth and to just hold them accountable.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked our last caller. How much of this season do you want them to dedicate to that?
Well, maybe a episode or two, actually sit down, maybe with hire a therapist, or just Evelyn goes to a therapist or something like that. Cause I feel like she has real issues that needs to be she needs to work on it for herself, not even the show, but it came out on the show. So now I want to know, are you a colorist? I really want to know because she dates a lot of Black men and I don't know.
Right. Well, hopefully we'll get more of our questions answered this season. People in the comments are definitely agreeing with you. Sinitra says she's here for the accountability. So hopefully that's one of the things we can look out for. And as I think about the way I want to make my binge-worthy videos for Basketball Wives this season, I'll definitely keep that in mind. So thanks for calling.
You're welcome. Thank
All
you.
right. I'll see you in the chat. All right, so we spoke a little bit tonight about Basketball Wives. I know a lot of you guys, haven't watched the show in a while, or you don't watch the show at all. And I know that we also spoke about Real Housewives of Atlanta. We spoke about Nene being petty in the comments, under Dwight's post about him and Sheree hosting some sort of Bravo special on Sunday. And then we moved into the fact that a Black woman, definitely made Real Housewives of Atlanta happen. So big up to all of my Black queens that's in this live. And hopefully hearing that story can inspire some of you guys who are sitting on some really great ideas to believe in yourself and to really push it. Do whatever it takes to really get your ideas out there, no matter how big or small. So before we leave, I want to talk a little bit about Real Housewives of Potomac. It's another show that I'm worried about, and I haven't really talked about Real Housewives of Potomac at all since I got back to creating videos. So I know this isn't brand new tea, but I want to talk about Monique Samuels. But before I do, shout out to you, Tay Boogie. He says, OMG, Bingeworthy, please don't ever leave us again. Tell us what we need to get more videos from you. I can watch you talk about paint colors as long as we get the Mama Joyce wig and Justin Exotic. I'll be dead. Thank you for that encouraging word, and definitely thank you for supporting the channel with that super chat of $24.99. I so appreciate it. Yeah, sometimes I do need a break. In this case, I was relocating and trying to get readjusted to the pandemic in my own way, by moving closer to the beach. But, I'll never completely leave you guys. And if I do, I'll definitely at least make an announcement. But yeah, let me get right into what's happening with Monique. And again, this isn't brand new tea, so I don't want to read it in the comments. Y'all talking about this is old tea. And for those of y'all who not even here and are going to watch this in the replay, first of all, you don't get to tell me what to talk about. You didn't even show up to the live damn stream. But yeah, I'm going to talk about Monique leaving Real Housewives of Potomac, how I feel about that, and how it makes me feel about the future of the show.
Beautiful lake house. Look at this family. Do we need to replace her? In my mind, every time a housewife leaves, no matter how many are on the show, see, that's too many women. They don't technically need to replace. Do I even know all these women?
Yeah, when I got the tea back in January about my fave Monique leaving Real Housewives of Potomac, I was so shook. Y'all know that I did everything within my power to protect this Black queen right here. I just feel like Monique is so special, and hate to put this photo of but anyways, I forgot to add a Monique photo. But yeah, I did everything in my power. I knew, I felt it in my spirit that there was no way the Monique that I know and love, who is affluent, exudes opulence, intelligent, powerful, secured the bag. Like, if the girl that I know and fell in love with watching Real Housewives of Potomac, I knew there was no way she was going to let them do her the way that they did. They completely tried to smear her name multiple seasons. I don't know if you guys remember where they tried to do the whole DUI, accusing her of being drunk and wrecking her vehicle. Then when that didn't work, they came back with and tried to do this storyline about her, not being faithful in her marriage. And, it's just unfortunate because I feel like, and especially if you guys actually follow her on Instagram, she's a special type of, woman. And she has so much that she wanted to share and add to the whole Black experience, even with her promoting essential oils and having her mommy blog. It's just like, those are not things that we're getting anymore. And for her to be so late into the Housewives game, it's almost like she just picked up Deshaun Snow 101 with a little bit of Candy 101 with a little bit of Kenya 101 and just gave us everything that we needed for Real Housewives of Potomac. And I think she single-handedly has helped that show to be that girl. Let me know if y'all agree in the comments below. So it comes as no surprise to me that she was smart enough to go through the process, finish her little contract, give them what they needed to give, show up on time to the reunion, looking absolutely stunning with her man, sitting on ready to check Andy and everybody else because it's not cute. You know, you ain't gonna sit here and play my wife and try to ruin our life and sit here and try to give me some small talk about the game. Girl, get out of my face. So I wasn't surprised, but I was hoping and I was praying and I was DMing her and I was saying in my videos, let's protect this Black queen at all costs, because I know that she was up to something. So unfortunately, yes, she did announce that she was done with the show in the most iconic way. I, of course, am going to miss her, and I am going to, I don't think we'll ever be able to get anybody like her on Real Housewives of Potomac, and I'm worried about the show now. I feel like I was telling Bravo, don't touch this cast, because I just feel like it was so balanced. You know, I wasn't really feeling Wendy, you know, only because I feel like Wendy came in, you know, not giving Monique a chance, really just being loyal to her friend or whatever. And I just feel like I never got a chance to really fall in love with Wendy. But yeah, I just think that it's just so unfortunate. And I wish Monique the best. And, you know, the storyline is coming out and it's saying that there's going to be a major cast shakeup, and Bravo is completely shook because they had no clue that Monique was leaving, and they hadn't been really looking for no other girl to replace her. They thought that they could just play her and treat her like crap, and she just gonna come and, you know, with a tail in between her legs, ready to collect that little cheap little check. But like Wendy said, her man is exactly the type of Black man that we need. Now, we don't know him personally, not saying he's the best person in the world, but I love that he supported her through the humiliation, had her back, and more than likely he was the one that said, you're better than this, baby. You're better than this, and we're not going to let this happen. I imagine that he said, girl, whatever check they giving you, I'll double it, baby. Because we going out. We're not going to let them play with us, play with our son, play with our family, play with our union. And that's what it really takes. And that alone, even her exit, shows exactly why we needed somebody like her to represent us on a platform like Real Housewives. So definitely let me know if you guys agree with that. And I'm sorry that it took so long to give my opinion. Opal asks, is Wendy coming back? I'm not sure who's coming back. Last time I checked, my sources are saying that it's going to be a huge cast shakeup. Like, everything changes with Monique being gone. And I feel like the right thing to do is to either, maybe I'll save that for another video, because maybe I'm not ready to tell exactly what I think should happen just yet. But I know that it's going to be really hard for them to get their formula right, because y'all remember, it took season 1 of Real Housewives, season 2, season 3, probably up to season 4, maybe season 5, for them to get that money-making, perfect cast with the perfect balance, perfect energy, and really great storyline. And they rode that train for several seasons, you know? So I feel like Real Housewives of Potomac finally got there, and then boom, it's over with. She ain't coming back. And that's the end of the story. All right. Y'all are saying that I need to tell y'all what I think should happen. What I think should happen is, I think that our good sis, what's her name? Candace, right here. Candace, girl, you need to sit out a season. You need to be demoted to friend of the show. And you need to reevaluate what's going on, because I don't like the way you moving. I don't like the way you gaslighted our good sis, and then was so quick to try to have those white people down at Bravo use their power to really humiliate Monique and trying to get the girls to gang up on Monique. And I just feel like I know that it's embarrassing to get drug or, get your wig shifted on national TV, but I just feel like my loyalty to my people would supersede any type of dumb storyline. And I just feel like the way that they were talking about how they were afraid of Monique and, oh, she's so violent. I thought that was disgusting. And I said it in my videos. And I feel like Candace was the one who really listened to her little white man and used that little power that I guess he still has, even though he clearly broke, used that power to really try to get that narrative going. And I just feel like when I saw like them when I saw them talking about like, oh, we're afraid, or oh, she's so violent, I don't think we should talk like that. And I'm so glad that Karen wasn't being a Karen and she spoke up and tried to protect her, because I don't ever want to be in a room with all people who don't look like me talking bad about my girls and really giving them the right to amplify those stereotypes about us being so violent and us being so scary. And oh my gosh, like, girl, bye. You know that you've gotten your arm pinched before. You know that you've gotten a beaten. You've gotten a little tap in the past. You do not have anxiety because you got into a 5-second scuffle with a girl where you started it. Get out of here. But anyways, that kind of gaslighting is the stuff that I don't like. And I feel like Monique should not be the only one who had to pay for that. And I feel like the right thing to do is to go ahead and have either Candace sit out a season or be a friend of the show. I feel like Giselle, her best storyline was, Pastor Jamal, and it was a flop. It was a flop. Like, this was her only storyline that she had been holding in her back pocket since season 1. She finally got back with them, and it wasn't hitting on nothing. So it's just like, Bravo, do y'all not see that she really not that girl? Do y'all see that we really are not looking for her to represent us? Do you see that, her and Robin can go too? I feel like everybody can go except Karen, maybe Ashley. And they need to be begging Monique to please come back and retract her statement. Please. In the name of Black excellence, please don't leave us. But anyways, I normally like to think my theories out and come to y'all once I'm a little calmed down. But there you go. Hi, Travis. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. What do you think about this story, or is there another story you want to talk about?
I want to talk about two. I want to talk about the Monique thing and the Nene thing.
Okay.
So for Monique, I feel like the reunion was it was giving me very much Portia. Like, I felt like they were trying to, for one, the whole reunion was about her anyway, to be honest with you.
Monique?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and then like during the season, I felt like they were like, oh, they were so afraid of her. But my thing is, with Candace, you have all this mouth and you're trying to fight people with knives and stuff, but you scared of a little wig pull.
Right. Right.
And then for Andy at the reunion, I feel like he picks and chooses like who he wants to shade, because I felt like he was really shading the hell out of Monique.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't even doing anything, for Candace or whatever. So I just felt like the whole reunion was shaded to me. I didn't like it. Like, none of the parts. I didn't like it at all. I just felt like it was like everybody was going to get up against Monique. I felt like it was just shady. I didn't like it at all. And when she quit, I kind of felt like I was mad, because I felt like, don't give these girls this power to
like
mess up your coin.
That's the only thing that I didn't like, because to think that anybody gets to sit back and be like, oh yes, we won. Damn, it took long. It took all of this. Like, she waited long enough. Like, that just speaks to how much, and I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. The way she exited, she fulfilled her contract. She showed up to work on time. She played the game. She really used her brain with her exit. And she's leaving, and finally the only one who's ever left and really trumped Bravo, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then, I feel like with this season coming up, I feel like they're really going to struggle because this season coming up, they were going to use that whole thing with Monique to get her back good in with the group. But now that you don't have her, it's kind of like, where are your storylines for your season going to go? Because you don't really have any drama brewing between other ladies. So what are you going to talk about?
Right.
No, my bad.
It's my girl. I love it to death.
Yeah, I just feel like, I believe it when I hear the story saying that they're scrambling and they don't know what to do and they're shook, because she was really the perfect cast member. And I just feel like they underestimated her and they thought like, oh, okay, maybe she's not as smart or powerful or wealthy as we thought she was. Look at her still showing up. She need the money, and no, ma'am.
Exactly. Now with Nene, I've been ever since the whole thing, like this past summer, where she was on the fence about returning. This is my opinion of Nene. I feel like, in so many words, Nene, she was the first one there, so she's always gonna feel like she's entitled. And I understand that you're the first one there, you're the head one in charge, you've been there since day one.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like when it comes to her contract and stuff, I feel like sometimes Nene does be asking for a lot. Sometimes what I've seen on the actual going to the scenes when you're watching TV, it's like, Nene don't want to be there.
Right.
And I do feel like things have went on behind the scenes. And I do feel like, she does feel some type of way. But
what do you think about her commenting on Dwight's post about Dwight finally hopefully he's getting a check? Do you feel like she's stopping bags, or do you feel like, how do you feel about what she said or did?
I feel like it was kind of a little shady and petty, but I mean, in the same word, it was kind of true, because it was like when she was on there, they weren't really calling Dwight for nothing. So I mean, it's like, what I'm saying, now that she's gone, Nene's going to be petty now that she's gone.
Right.
And at the same time, I don't really know what she wants out of this. I mean, you say that you don't want to come back, and I understand. I guess you just want a conversation, I guess, with them. But I feel like, being shady, like the thing like what she said about Portia on Twitter, I felt like, okay, Nene, y'all just got back cool within the last year. Now you about to be back at square one where nobody's going to want to deal with you. So it's kind of like now you just digging yourself a deeper hole. And I just feel like, I understand you're not there no more and they did you wrong, but what she doing, I just feel like it's just not necessary. It's really not.
Right. All right. Well, thanks so much for calling in tonight. I know you had to wait a little while to get through, but I appreciate you calling.
No problem.
All right. Thank you. All right, guys. So tonight, again, we talked about Basketball Wives, the new season. A lot of you guys were saying that you really hope that VH1, I was about to say Bravo, really hope that VH1 does the right thing and really, hold Shani and Evelyn to the fire and make them really address, some of their past sins from last season that made them really sit out. The show's been off the air for over a year, and I think they were really trying to figure out, will the girls be okay if we bring this show back after the fiasco or not? And I just feel like, they definitely got some things to talk about, but we're going to be tuning in and we're going to see the way they move. We also talked about Real Housewives of Atlanta and Nene being petty and being trolling Dwight Eubanks on Instagram, because Dwight got a phone call from Bravo where they asked him to apparently host some sort of special with Sheree, and they're going to be talking about something to do with Housewives on Zoom or something. And then we also talked about the fact that Real Housewives of Atlanta was, not created, but it's inspired, and she really helped it happen. It was a Black woman named Princess, and a lot of you guys, learned about her for the first time tonight. A lot of you guys also knew about her already. Before we ended things talking about Real Housewives of Potomac, finally talking about how, Monique finally announced that she was leaving and how iconic it is, but at the same time is really disappointed. Now, before we go and I get out of here, can we get this video to at least 375 likes? If you haven't already, please slam that like button. It's really important, especially right now, to let YouTube know that you guys appreciate what I'm doing and that you want to see channels like mine amplified and showing up in the search engines when people look for stuff to watch on YouTube. And I would definitely appreciate it. Thank you for everybody who called in tonight. And I definitely appreciate it. And I will definitely see you guys on the next video. Thanks again so much for watching this video. I will see y'all next time. Actually, let me read some comments before I get out of here. Somebody said YouTube is not on our side either. Somebody said joggers. Somebody said, come on. People like the video. It's free and easy. Let's see. Y'all already saying bye. Somebody said the only reason Bravo didn't fire Monique is because Nene had already put them on blast. Oh, that's tea. I didn't think about that. Somebody said I'm here for OG. That's the only reason why I'm watching. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be tuned into Basketball Wives for the Queen OG. All right, guys, I've been on here for quite a long time. Thanks again for watching this video. I will see y'all later. Thanks so much for tuning into this binge-worthy discussion. I want to shout out everyone who called in tonight and everyone who joined in on this conversation in their own way. I really feel so good about our discussion, and I cannot wait to do it again sometime really, really soon. And I definitely want to give a very special thank you to everyone who sent super stickers or super chats tonight. And shout out to all of y'all who became members so that y'all could use some of these emojis, and be official. All right, thank you guys again for watching this video. I will see you on the next one.